Hello, future bestsellers. We are super excited to see you here today. Um, NaNoWriMo officially over. Yeah. How do we feel about that?
I'm okay with it.
That's good. That's very good. I'm very glad to hear that. So how about you, Michelle? I got a little video notification this morning that a certain somebody made her nano goals. So tell us, how'd you do? Yeah.
I as of this time yesterday, I was at a little over 40,000 words.
So
yesterday
no.
But yeah, I got it done. It's a very rough draft, but it's a little over 50K. I'm gonna put it away and not think about it for a while.
Oh my God. Well, and this is awesome. You had a 10K day yesterday.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Those are like, I've never had a 10K day, although I've had like 7K days only at the end of the book project. Like when you're just running on fumes.
Yeah.
And you can't wait to get to the end.
Yes.
So yeah. Well, congratulations. That is amazing. Yay. Fantastic. Robert, how'd you do on your nano goal this year?
I don't remember the exact word count because it's been a couple of days since I've worked on it, but I got about halfway through my draft and that was fine. I was just doing this as sort of a thing to give me a boost because I had a lot going on this month, but halfway through a draft is better than I expected. And I've never had a 10K day. I've had maybe a couple of 4K days and that's great for me.
It is really impressive. It's really impressive. I mean, you do get like that end of the book boost, which is awesome. But like, I feel like you should maybe maybe make a special certificate for yourself and frame it that says 10K day. Have you ever done it before?
A 10K day? Yes, but only, I mean, that was probably my 4th or 5th.
Wow.
And I will say, I did it because I was using dictation.
Right, that matters.
I've only done it like, I think maybe twice actually typing. That was back in January when I just like had a couple weeks of not being able to work or mentally function at all. And then I just got myself into some trouble and some deadlines were coming up and I had to, and it was very unpleasant.
Sometimes that is the way it gets. That's the way the sausage gets made. So yeah. I also I did not write. I have met my nano goal though, which was to get the editing for a nonfiction book that I had finished done, which I did yesterday. Yay! So I'm very excited about that.
Awesome.
So I wouldn't I'm not going to say I'm not going to put up the nano badge because obviously I did not write 50,000 words, but I did have a big goal and I accomplished it. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
Let's say hello to our friends. So for all of you who know, Caro is on a hiatus right now. Aw, you guys are so sweet. So Caro is on a hiatus because that's what we call it.
That's like a hiatus on a kayak.
No, it's a Caro hiatus. It's a hiatus. So she is on a hiatus right now. We can't wait till she comes back because we love you and we miss you. And Debbie was first today. Congratulations. Very nice. Caro came in second. Claude was number 3. Nice work. Very good. And Precious Cousins came in at number 4. Caro says, but we're all number 1 to Lisa, which I love that. And also to Story Detective and Michelle. Well, we reached 24 to be in a giant calendar, Eva. That's funny, just for Christmas. All right. Very, very nice. So I'm super glad that you guys are all here today. Jeannie Marcel is here. Hello. Cool Gamers with us today. Very nice to see you guys. I want to know if you did nano, I want to know how you did first. Like, did you accomplish your goal, whatever that was? And second, are you really glad it's over? All right, let's do that. So Caro says, good for you, Michelle. Yay. Really impressive. Really, really impressive. Devin's here. Hello, Devin. We're very glad to see you. Barrett is beaming in from the chair at the infusion center, but couldn't miss chance to say hey to my favorites. Oh, Barrett, we love you, and we hope that you have like a good thing going today. So sending you healthy vibes, baby. All right. Jeannie Marcella, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Aw, very sweet. Barrett, you are the best. Yay. Yes, absolutely. Congrats to everybody who crushed those nano goals or slid in by the seat of your pants at 11:59.
Oh my gosh.
West Coast time. It all counts. Very, very nice. Very good. All right. So Claude says a 4K day is about my ceiling 2, maybe 5K when coffee is flowing. So 10K. Wow. Hats off to you. Definitely. You are welcome. Claude did 50K, 340 for Nano, and yes, very glad it's over. Yay! I'm super excited about that. We are expecting Doll and Sako to roll in at any time, and Doll also, you know, she had kind of a different goal as well. But she did right, and she had made a little announcement yesterday that she met her goal, but I'm very excited to hear about how she did about that. All right. Jeannie says nano goal not accomplished, was too busy trying to revive websites and create a new pen name. Boy, that is the thing, right? That's kind of the rub. You still have like your normal life and all of your normal activities to go back to.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm excited today. I don't know how well are our sprints going to go today. If everybody's like, oh, I'm still here, I made it. So we usually on the first of the month, we kind of stop for a while, but we're going to get back into the habit of this. Usually on the first of the month, we have done a promo stream where we talk about some sort of author platform branding thing. And this week, we are going to talk a little bit about Patreon, and knowing that none of us on the screen is an expert in Patreon, but we did have, oh, look who's here. Doll's here. Hi, Doll.
Hey,
good to see you. So we are going to talk about Patreon today, so I'm super excited about that. Yay! I know Doll's excited. She does have a Patreon, so we're going to talk about what works for her.
I have one, yes.
But we're also going to talk about some of the cool stuff that we have seen on other authors' Patreon accounts and whether or not this is something that you would ever consider doing for yourself. So I'm very interested to know. 1, tell me what you're going to work on today in the chat, please. 2, tell me your thoughts on Patreon. Good, bad, love it, hate it. Would you ever do it as a writer? And why not? Or why, right?
Yeah. And how.
And
that's
how.
What I'm interested in hearing. How would you use it?
Yeah, exactly. So before we get started, I want to do quick intros all around, and then we'll do a little 5-minute warm-up sprint. So let's start with you, Michelle, and then we'll just go around the circle. So
all right.
Tell us a little about you and your awesome channel.
Thanks, you, Lisa. I'm Michelle Schusterman. I'm a young adult and middle grade author. Although I did just finish the first draft of my first adult mystery book. And my writing channel is Writing Workshops, Traditional Publishing Chat, and Blogs.
Very nice. Very good job. If I had a little award to give you, I totally would. Story Detective. So glad you're here today. Tell us all about you.
Well, my channel takes various forms of storytelling and puts it under a Sherlockian microscope and breaks down the craft, gives it to viewers to make their craft journey easier. And I am going to be working on a non-writing kind of sprint thing. I'm working on some stuff for Amy to revamp my website. The Lightsaber website is under construction, by the way. It will be revamped soon. So if you're looking for Star Wars themed Christmas presents, I will post a link. You can buy those sabers on the wall back there and many, many more.
That is a good one. That's really good. That's like a good gift. Also, you know, it's hard sometimes to find gifts for people. That is a good thing. All right.
Yeah.
Here we go. Very nice. Welcome today. Always glad to have you. Doll, tell us all about you, darling.
Hello there, humans. I am CECIL RUNO. I'm a blind storyteller for introspective readers, and my channel is going to come back stronger than ever in 2022 with more well-produced videos on not only writing craft, but also like time management for authors. And just to remind you of your own humanity, you're not a machine. Great for a sci-fi author to talk about that. And so I am here to remind you of your humanity, and so help you claim back your creative time. So that's my mission for next year.
Wonderful. That is awesome. Very good. So I'm Lisa Daley. I'm a traditionally published and now hybrid published author, primarily of romantic comedies and nonfiction. And I am super excited to be here with everybody today. So let's start off with our 5-minute warm-up sprint. We'll see if Sako wanders in while we're doing that. You guys can get your giant bottle of water or your coffee or whatever.
Oh my gosh, Lisa, we have the same water bottle.
Do we really?
Exact one with those colors in my fridge.
I love this thing because I feel like with the little times written on, I've talked about this before, my enduring love for this water bottle. It makes me drink all day long rather than just chugging 2 gallons of water before I go to bed at night.
Oh God, don't do that.
No, I would, but really, I'll set these goals and I'm like, oh crap, I still have like, 1.5 liters to go. And then because I want to do it. And then you know what happens after that. We're not going to talk about that. Right.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I've done that.
It's good. So this is better because all day I'm like, ooh, I haven't quite hit 11 o'clock yet. I better drink all my water.
Yes.
So,
and it's pretty handy.
Right. It really is. Okay, you guys, let's go ahead and put up the 5-minute, StreamYard changed. And the spot where it used to say share screen now says slides. And I was like, wait, what? I'm going to have to check that out. I'm very excited about that. All right, hold on here. There's that. Oops, somebody's got me on echo. Okay, so we are going to get started with our first 5-minute warm-up sprint. Get your drinks ready. Get your document open if you're going to do that, or your calendar, or whatever it is you're going to be working on today.
I'm not doing crap today because I won NaNoWriMo, and I'm like, nope, I have to start recording videos, and I need a pause. I need a pause. But I won in Hano, so I'm just here to cheer you on your thing.
Okay, so let's talk about that because I know a lot of people are kind of burned out today. So if you guys would rather do more chit chat today and fewer sprints,
leave it in the chat.
Yeah, leave it in the chat and let us know. And we'll adjust accordingly because we're here for you guys. So.
I'm not burned. I'm not burned, but I do recognize that I am going to have a heavy video production month, and I'm like, no, take a break.
Yeah, it's really good. Well, and it's such an important part of creative work to take those pauses between, heavy work times or projects because your brain needs a chance to rest. It's just like all the rest of your body. All right, here. Oh, there we go. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Let's do a 5-minute sprint. All right, we are back. Let me unmute all my friends here. Okay. All right, you guys. So, welcome back. And I don't know if you opened up a document or if you're just like staring off into space or watching YouTube videos. It's all cool. We're good. We have more friends here today, so that's pretty awesome. So, let's talk about what we're gonna. Okay, we have a lot of things in the questions, comments, etc. about Patreon, because I want to talk about that today.
Good.
Second, if you're working on something today, what are you working on? And if you're not working on something today, what will you be doing when the timer is happening? I've kind of done so. All right.
I like it.
Michelle, working on something today or slacking today?
A little bit of both. I'm starting 2 new client projects today. And I'm just like, what I did in that 5-minute sprint was I just got out my calendar and broke down. I want to have outlines to both of them by the end of this month. So I was just planning out how many days a week is that going to take. And that's all I did.
That's good. That was a lot in 5 minutes. Story Detective, how about you?
I'm pricing new products for my website, and I have a load of lightsabers that I need to come up with names. They give us numbers, and we can name them ourselves, whatever we want. And then I have to come up with a brief description and give it all to Amy and let her do her magic.
Wow. So one of my goals for 2021 was to do my website revamp. And I've been working with Amy on that. And it has been stalled entirely due to me. And so I keep thinking, like, do I have time to torture her and dump a bunch of stuff on her? We'll see. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if she'll have time to share other stuff with you. But anyway, I might try to slide it in under the wire because I really did want to get it done this year. All right. Doll CECIL RUNO, how about you?
I opened Canva and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do thumbnails today at least. I'm gonna do something, but a bit slowly. I'm just like considering ideas before doing anything. So I just opened Canva and checked my newsletter that just came out today to see that everything was in order. And yeah, the podcast link is there. Everything is there. Yeah, it worked.
Cool.
Success.
Yay. All right. Fantastic. I'm feeling not super burned out because I was editing and not writing. But also I have a book launch in 2 weeks. And so I will be doing like promo stuff, like getting stuff ready for the next 2 weeks, which a lot of it's already done, but there are other things that are not done. So I'll be working on newsletters and art and things like that. So yay. All right, you guys, let's talk some more nano with everybody. Here we go. Hold on. Jeannie Marcella said, congrats to everybody who rocked 50K and beyond. Barrett says, way to go on your nano accomplishment. Everybody's happy to see Doll. Jeannie Marcella says, I really need to channel Caro and get my planner planned. Don't we all need to channel Caro when it comes to planning? She's going to do beta reading today, get my edits going. I have to finish these. Speaking of planning, Boozy Planorama, Sunday, January 2nd, 8 p.m. Eastern on my channel. And Miss Caro will be there. So I'm very excited about that. All right. Caro's jumping right in, keeping us on track as always. She says, I have a Patreon and I feel guilty trying to pimp it out. I use it by showing behind the scenes content and early access to stories and art from my projects. The difficult part is making sure you foster the community there and make sure they feel valued there. It's like getting people to sign on to your newsletter, but harder because you are asking for a monthly investment. I say this as someone that helps someone with their Patreon and they are a musician. It is a part-time, full-time job depending on you.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, I think Patreon is such a cool thing, but I also wonder how many people are like, oh yeah, throw some money at me, and they don't really realize how much work you have to put into it if you really want to do it and develop it and give people something of value, you know.
I'm doing Patreon, and I also feel kind of guilty because I didn't share anything during NaNoWriMo, and that kind of bothers me a little. But what I did was that I left the early access to my sci-fi chapters that no one else can see because Patreon or Coffee. I created the alternative for people who would rather use coffee instead of Patreon. I don't know what's the discrepancy, but some people prefer the other. So I put whatever I put in one, I put in both. It's the same, just to give them a choice. But I didn't do anything in November. Now everybody knows that I was working crap ton on video scripts. And what I'm going to do during December is that I'm going to give them early access to those scripts. And since I have a lot of backup now, because I decided to go all in with NaNoWriMo instead of just focusing on my personal goal, I have a ton of scripts that are backups. So I can share them on Patreon. And if people like one more than the other, they can vote. So now they will have a say on what video goes up.
Oh, that's cool. That's a great idea. So Sky says, Carol, that's the main reason I haven't really invested in a Patreon yet. I already have 2 things on my plate. I don't need to add more. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel this same way. I want to tell you guys a little story though. So I do not have a Patreon, and I have been like on the fence about it. However, my significant other, the horror geek, does have a Patreon, and he has a YouTube channel that he's got 50 some. Oh my gosh, he like literally is sending me like a whole bunch of text about this very topic because he can hear it. Okay, so here's I'll assimilate them during the next sprint and then share. So here's the deal with him. He has a YouTube channel that has like 50-some thousand subscribers on it. And he took a poll in his community tab and said, what kind of perks do you guys want on Patreon? And he'd ask, a bunch of different things. And then one of them was just like, I don't want any perks. I just want to support the channel. And the overwhelming majority of people chose, I don't want any perks. I just want to support the channel. And now people are like, horror geek, you are a mad genius, because he makes a really nice chunk of money every month from his Patreon subscribers. They don't get early access to the videos. He does do like some kind of behind the scenes like pictures or like funny like dumb jokes and things like that, but not very much. He doesn't do very much. And he's not, his whole thing is the content that I create is my YouTube channel. And so thank you for supporting that, but I'm not creating like a whole extra suite of content for Patreon. And I think
I like that idea. Actually, it fits in with exactly what I was thinking. I don't like the idea of early access. If you look at things like TV shows and other things in the entertainment world, early access kind of kills it, because it's built on things of people waiting and the suspense and the conversations that go on about it online. If people aren't going to wait for your content and your key favorite viewers are on your Patreon supporting you, what do they have to look forward to unless you're working to get that next thing up for the early access?
Point.
Yeah, I think I do think that's a really good point. I mean, so I don't have a Patreon, but I do have a newsletter. And one of the things that I do with my newsletter subscribers is I give them early access in that they get to see like a book cover the day before everybody else gets to see the book cover. Or they get, so it's more like I wouldn't, or maybe they get like advance notice of a sale on, like if my books are going on sale or a book's going on sale, I might tell them before I tell everybody else. So just to like keep fostering the specialness of that relationship. But I do agree with you that there is something about, well, in my business, foreplay, right? But about that idea of building suspense. So yeah, definitely. All right. I want to hear the talks. I want to hear the chat. Jeannie Marcella says, good advice, Carol Brown. Always is true. Carol also thinks we should have thinking sprints where we sit and think. I think that is fantastic. I am going to be a little bit all over the place today. Little shocker. I know you guys are like, what? Lisa, we've never heard of that before. Okay, so Barrett likes the thinking sprint idea.
I love that.
I like it too.
Okay, we're going to do 15-minute thinking sprints today. So Caro is working on Tangled Tango. Oh my God, I love that title. That's awesome.
great.
That's fantastic. Debbie is placing base colors down on the comic page. Fantastic. Sky is working on setting up a reading journal. I want to start taking better notes when reading, but I want a designated place to put them all. Look at you. And Caro, not surprisingly, has a system for that. Very nice. Devin, where are you going on vacation? That's awesome. I'm very glad people are getting out of the house right now. Okay. I mean, you know, be safe. Okay. Sky says currently sketching out some ideas. JL is here. Yay. We're very glad you made it. Very nice. Claude's just going to casually brainstorm the last 25% of his novel. Very nice. JC is here. Hello, JC. We're so glad you made it. All right. Ooh, okay. So regarding Horror Geek, he did foster and build a community up. Right. So he had, I don't remember how many people he had on his, how many subscribers he had on his YouTube channel before his, before he opened his Patreon, but I'll find out for you in the next sprint.
Lisa, wait real quick. Did I ever tell you that I heard him on a podcast once?
No.
It was the YouTube, I think it was the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. And they said his name, and I was just listening. They were interviewing him, and then they were like, his channel is called Horror Geek. And I was like, wait a minute. And then he lived in Florida, and I was like, this is Lisa's husband. Oh my God.
Yeah. So yes, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of funny because he had, like, he already had kind of like a nice audience. Like he's still really well known in the horror community, and so a lot of people that he used to kind of write with have now moved on to YouTube, and so he does do interviews on a semi-regular basis. And yeah, but also Tim Schmoyer, he took that class, right? So Tim Schmoyer's class, who's like the video labs guy, right, who tells you how to grow your channel. He took that class, and he's like one of Schmoyer's like star students. So yeah, right, exactly. So it's kind of funny, but he just followed all of his advice. So the sad thing is, I know it's really working. So all right, which is, you know,
he says awesome. With only a touch of envy.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know, the crazy thing is he's always telling me like, oh, you need to do this with your channel. Oh, you need to do this with your channel.
Which class, Lisa?
Tim Schmoyer's Video Labs. I will say, like, it was a big, extensive class. It took quite a long time. And the key is he posts consistently. If he died, his post would still go up on time. I mean, that is part of the awesomeness that is the Horror Geek. So,
right.
All right. Echo word is echoey. I'm not sure what that means. Okay. We are going to get through some more comments, and then we're going to do some thinking sprints. So Devin's going to be going to a mountain resort. Precious Cousins wrote 112 words until I realized my phone screen was off. Oh no, that's terrible. All right. So I love it. So I love the idea. I have seen great author Patreons that do kind of a combination of both. And yeah, a combination of both. And so I love the fact, I think the Horror Geek is kind of a genius in the fact that he said, like, this is the content. And also, unlike us, he, because of what he does, which is horror movie reviews, especially like older stuff, he gets demonetized a lot. And his audience wants more. Well, I shouldn't say that. He's really good at cutting, so he doesn't. But it's always a threat because of just the content, right? And so I think his...
Even if you do the fair use, like,
oh no, it's not. That's
fair use that you use a clip from someone else, but
no, that's not the problem for him.
That's not the problem.
No, oh no, he was a columnist for a really long time, and he knows all about fair use. He has there are a couple of movie companies that don't care, and they'll just ding you anyway, and he just kind of avoids them. But he doesn't usually get that. It's mostly like the YouTube police, like, for content. Like, it's too graphic in some way, even though he, you know, tries to cut strategically. Okay, so
because it's horror. Yeah,
exactly. So Is there? I'm curious, Caro, since you are like our Patreon person today.
I have a
well,
lag.
do you want to pop off and come back on?
Sorry.
All right. Okay. So we'll do that. Let's do this. Take a deep breath. We're going to do a 15-minute sprint for those of you who want to think or write. And then we'll come back and we'll talk more about Patreon strategy, because I really am fascinated in what everybody has to say. And if you do not have a Patreon, but you follow other authors on Patreon, why do you follow them? What kind of perks do you like, or do you not care? All right. That's what we're going to find out when we come back. All right. Thanks. All right. Here we go. Oh, gosh. What did I do? There we go. Okay. Now we're going to do just a 15-minute. And we're going to do that starting in 3, 2, 1. Think. Okay, we are back. And we have been joined by Aphrodite. I'm very excited about that. All right, let's see what we've got here. So fantastic, everybody. How do we do?
I did.
I'm just getting my bearings.
Welcome, Aphrodite. Well, we were going to talk about Patreon when you were here before. And sounds like somebody's got a little echo. Hopefully it's not me. We were going to talk about Patreon before, and we never really got into it. So I think today is actually a really good day to do that because everybody is too burned out to work today. So that's good news. Very, very good news. We have a lot to go on. So, okay, cool. So Carol popped up her Patreon. So thank you very much if you guys want to go check that out. So Aphrodite and Doll, we were just talking about what kind of benefits do you like? What kind of, what do you think your people want? Because I will say I often do not have time to enjoy the benefits of the creators that I like to support.
Yeah.
I'm not in it for the perks. I just like it because I like it. So Carol says that you run a stellar Patreon that you send out little stuffed animals, which is awesome.
Wow.
Katie Marcella is very happy about that. Yeah, so
It's so weird because I support a lot of other people on Patreon, and I literally only do it for the support. Like I've never even looked at the perks, but on my Patreon, I just get into the perks. I so get into it. So I love the fact that people are willing to help me create, because that's what it does. Like literally, my Patreon pays for my prescriptions. I'm not even kidding. So it legit keeps me going. So I enjoy making sure that I'm perky.
that you're alive and awake, and we are all grateful for that.
I'm with Aphrodite that Patreon, the money that I get for Patreon is always back into my channel. The reason why I can do cooler stuff with social media, for example, is because I have software that helps me do it in an easier way and more accessible, and that comes from Patreon. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do crap about it. So that's why I got very serious about, okay, I'm going to take my channel to the next level.
Right.
I invested in software, I invested in learning material, and now I'm going to put it into practice. This is why I took a severe break on my YouTube channel. Was not because I was giving up or I had a crisis, but no, I was also studying because I want to make things better, because I see that people support me. And I want to give even more because enough of being halfway. No, but I am also very thankful that people sometimes they don't mind about the perks. Sometimes I have perks and people are like, "Oh, I haven't checked it out yet," and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
For example, chapters 1 and 2 of my sci-fi are available in Patreon temporarily. It's not gonna be permanent because I'm wearing that baby. But I wanted people to see what's going on with it because it's been a while. So I wanted to give them some kind of temporary access with the big book project, so they know why they support me. Like they know what's behind it.
Right, and I agree. Like I love having a Patreon because I get to engage with people who legit want to support me. And the beautiful thing is like they can support you any way they want for as long as they want or as long as they can. Because I've had people who would come in for 6 months and they told me, "Hey, I'm going to be at this tier for 6 months, but then that's all I can do." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? That's amazing!" I really do love being on. It's like a playground for me too.
I think that's so awesome. So JL asked, just off the cuff, but wouldn't buy me a coffee be better than opening a Patreon? So yeah, so coffee, which is like KOFI, I think. So the way I understand it, it's not, first of all, it's not as well known as Patreon. People kind of understand what Patreon is. And the other part of that is that coffee isn't like a monthly, isn't that just like a little buy me a coffee, like it's a little
You can
gift?
you can do
Yeah.
both.
You
You
can
can
do
do
both?
either. Yeah. People can just donate if they feel like it, or
Mhm,
they can do the monthly thing.
mhm.
In the coffee that you're talking about. Now, JL is asking about, there's another one that it's even lesser known. It's called Buy Me a Coffee. Like that,
Ah,
that's the name. It's called Buy Me a Coffee, and it's
Mhm.
not as popular as Patreon, but some big creators also have that one.
right.
And honestly, I don't know how that one works, but I tried to support a creator once over there in that one that
Mhm.
Jay is asking, because they had that one.
Yeah.
And I tried. Of course, I didn't have much finances, so I did it temporarily, and then I had to close off because I
Sure.
couldn't. I
That's
couldn't anymore. In my particular case, I am very struggling, but like a struggling artist, whatever. And but I tried. So I know that there is a third one that JL is asking about. I just don't have an answer for you, but I
Mhm.
have to make it clear that coffee, the one that it's spelled in the chat, and the one that you're talking about, Lisa, that one has the possibility of just donating once, or donating every month, or
Mhm.
there is also freebie content on coffee as well.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
and but the thing is, on Patreon, and because I mean they all have their perks and their disadvantages. You can do the same thing on Patreon. You don't have to support somebody for like the rest of your life. You
Right.
can really go in there for a month or 2 months and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you can
but
support and cancel, and it's
Yeah.
still valid. It still counts.
Yeah.
it absolutely still counts.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Horror Geek wanted us to know that he definitely gets a lot more support from Patreon because he started on Coffee, and he said that he gets a lot more support on Patreon than he ever got on Coffee. Like Coffee
I
is
do
still
too.
available, but when you do too.
I
Yeah.
have a coffee account, and no one's ever
Isn't that it?
participated there. Whereas
Yeah,
on my
it's interesting.
Patreon, it's like I said, it's a playground. On my Patreon, I do really well there. And
Yeah.
it's not to say that coffee isn't great. It hasn't worked out for me yet, but it's
Mhm.
I hear the opposite from other people. Like, oh my god, my Patreon is so down, and my coffee is popping.
Oh, really?
So it
I
definitely
was gonna
just matters
say,
how
like,
people find you.
I feel
Yeah.
like maybe if more people just have Patreon accounts, then they don't have the added step of clicking on a link and having to set up an account like they might with Coffee.
Right. True.
Mhm.
But as more people join Coffee, that will change,
That'll
hopefully.
change. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. So
Yeah.
Eva says coffee doesn't take a cut unless it's from the services side of things. The monthly member payments all go to the creator, pretty sure. I hope Horror Geek
Yeah, they
agrees.
do. I have a coffee account, and
Oh,
the same thing. I've gotten almost nothing there. I haven't promoted it a lot, but when I do promote it, it's like I'm talking a space language.
Something
Well,
else I would
Patreon
like to throw
definitely.
out there
I'm sorry.
is no, that's okay. I want to throw YouTube memberships out there. I don't know if anybody's trying
right.
it, but that's another option, and it might be easier because it's all on
Mhm.
this platform.
Right, it's all in one place. So Horror Geek says that coffee does not take a cut, but PayPal does because they're associated. So you get money all.
I can
Yeah.
I can bring a solution for people in the United States and some countries in Europe. I cannot take that solution because I am not an eligible country. In the other alternative in coffee also gives you the option of get your payments through Stripe. This Stripe account,
Mm-hmm.
and that one will not take a cut
Oh,
like PayPal would. So
Interesting.
through coffee, you can do the Stripe thingy. I can't because Argentina is not a part of this, and neither was Hungary. So even when I was in Hungary, nope, you would still have the Stripe thingy. So I'm screwed. If there's no PayPal option, I cannot. I can only receive through PayPal. Little tangent, but this is the reason why that Medium platform would not work for me either. If you get like paid on Medium, by writing articles and stuff, I would never get paid because Medium only accepts Stripe. That was
Okay.
that was the little tangent. But back to coffee, you can decide which one through which platform are you going to get paid.
I actually
And,
don't mind the fees on Patreon, to be honest with you.
Me neither.
I think it's one of those things where like you pay for all the stuff that comes along with it that you can do, and they're not like massive fees.
There are no massive fees.
I don't know. I guess it definitely depends on how much of the money that comes in you're really cycling into your pocket, like that you really want to put in your pocket. Because I put a lot of, I put most of my Patreon money to my prescriptions. I can't lie, but I put all of the rest of it to creating something else for people.
Exactly.
I really
I'm
don't.
with you.
I don't think the fees are exorbitant.
No. Well, and they do have that whole platform. They do bring a lot of people, to you in a way that, that you might not otherwise have. So I want to talk, Eva's got some good comments on Twitch and YouTube membership. And I want to talk about those
Oh
when
God,
we
I
come,
love Twitch.
right? And we're going to come back. But let's do another sprint. A thinking sprint or a writing sprint or a whatever you want sprint today. And we will come back and talk more about Patreon and Twitch and YouTube and all of the other options for creators to be supported by their fans. All right, here we go, everybody. Let's do this in 3, maybe 2, 1. Think about it. Okay, so I just realized that like I really am having a day today. I feel like I've had like a month. So I realized that we've done like 2 sprints and I have not put up like the little banner that says like what we're doing the whole time. So if you just happen to wander onto the channel, you would just see a timer and a bunch of people staring off into space. So that's okay. Good thing we're all friends here.
It's all good.
It is. It's all good. It's all good. So I wanted to go back to let's see. All right. I think we did this. Okay. So Caro says PayPal does send you a tax document so you can get those funds back, but you have to pay tribute to the IRS god. In order to pay less tribute to the IRS god, you should definitely check out my taxes for writers videos because this is like my special nerdly thing that I love so much. I do not like to pay 1 penny more of my money to the IRS than I have to. And I come from a long line of financial people. So like any penny I can get back, I do. And I like talk about how I do that. So anyway, yes, that's absolutely true. Let's see. JC says with YouTube membership, you have to have a certain amount of watch hours and subscribers. That's true. You can have a Patreon account without, like, there's not like a ground floor for that. Kara says Zara is the person to talk to about coffee because she uses it a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
she's some sort of representative. I don't know exactly what her title is, but she has all this information that most people don't know about. So coffee can be used for a lot of different things. It might be interesting to have her talk about that at some point.
Yeah,
Yes,
we should
Sarah
definitely.
Hoffman is a coffee ambassador. That's the name
Yeah, that's
for. Yeah, that's the name for.
Yeah. Okay. I'll write this down. Coffee ambassador. All right. I'll reach out to her and we'll see if she'd like to come on and chit chat about coffee, because that would be pretty cool. So Eva had said Twitch has become a lot more popular among author tubers due to easier path to monetization. And then somebody else had said Twitch is a streaming channel. But so here are the benefits of Twitch, because I have lots of conversations with the Horror Geek about this very thing. Twitch pays more money to the subscription, like the subscription fees go to the creator. In some ways, they have some good things for the creators. The bad side is that the ability for people to just stumble upon you, like the search on Twitch, is not super great. But I think, didn't Amazon buy Twitch a couple years ago?
Yes.
Yeah. So I know
Amazon owns the planet. So.
Michelle.
Yeah. So yeah. So one of the things is that that search function is eventually going to happen on. If Amazon owns Twitch, they're not going to just leave it a mess like that. And that's like a big complaint that a lot of people have about it.
Yeah.
All right.
I like being over on Twitch. I haven't fully got into it because of just so many other things on my plate in front of it, but I really do like being on Twitch.
I don't like Twitch because same reason why I stopped streaming, like being a stream host on YouTube. It is very difficult for me to host a stream and keep an eye on the chat and with the magnifier thing. It's very visual, and
it is very difficult. That is
very
difficult. True.
And the thing with me is I lose energy too quickly, and then I'm not gonna write, I'm not gonna read, I'm not gonna do anything. So I have to decide: do I want to be a writer or a streamer? I cannot do both.
Dal, you know what I do? Because you and I both are in the same boat as far as vision. You know what I do? I don't go alone, even though it may look like I'm alone. I get like a backup person to follow my chat because I can't. Like there's no getting around it. I can't see well enough to keep up with chat.
I hear you.
I fake seeing, so I know where to hold my head to look at the camera. But I can't say.
Well, that's good that you have a little producer helping you. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I have to do that because if I'm gonna I don't have a choice.
Exactly
the way that the chats are. excuse me, I'm losing my voice. The way that the stuff like even YouTube, the way it's set up, I can't blow it up. So if I can't blow it up, then I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then even though like I use a 60 inch television screen, because things can't be magnified, they literally have to be big in order for me to kind of make them out. It's too much. I can't do it.
Yeah, that's
so
a
I
lot.
get someone to kind of they're in the side and they're actually doing it and kind of spoon feeding it.
That's
That's
really, really nice. And I'm very happy to hear that you have a backup because, like, I hear you. I'm in the same boat. It's like,
like, I never told people that
I
because
cannot
didn't
be a
want
stream host.
Yeah, I didn't want people feeling sorry for me. I never told people that, but just full disclosure, I do not do it alone.
Well, I think that is fantastic. You made a comment earlier, and I want to bring this up. You said, if you can do more than one, meaning if you can do Patreon and coffee, or Patreon and Twitch, or Patreon and Twitch and coffee, then go for it, because you'll see where your supporters are coming from. It's that old sort of 80-20 rule, right? Where 80% of your effort goes, result gives you 20% of your results, and 20% of your effort gives you 80%. And so you obviously want to do more of the 20%, because that'll give you the biggest, sort of bang for your buck.
Right.
So if you find out that all of your effort on Patreon is really what's bringing in, the big support, or Twitch or coffee or whatever it is, that's really where you could focus your energy.
And you know what? Like I wanted to tell you guys this too for my Patreon. I built that Patreon long before I even had a book. Like I pretended like if you were published, what would you do and what would you want to get? So I built it kind of from a dream, but no one knew me. No one knew who I was. I'm like, so you have this Patreon account where no one's ever going to find you. So what I did was I chose 10 people randomly that I knew read like either read the art copies of my books, because I have a couple out that they aren't all published, but people who knew me that way as a writer. And then I gave them $12 gift cards for them to sign up for Patreon for a year at the dollar tier.
Yeah.
So I gave that out. So I had 10 automatic patrons for a year, and I used it. I used it that first. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling. I used that first year as my practice on how to really get out there, what I wanted to do, what people were responding to, and I just gave it away to 10 people.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
amazing idea.
Whether or not they stay, and 8 of the 10 people are still patrons.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Cool.
That's very fantastic. I really like that.
A friend of mine who does marketing did a Patreon, and he did something similar. He just reached out to all of his friends and said, help me seed my Patreon account by contributing at least like $1 a month. So it looked like he had some flow going on there and wasn't like an absent person out in the void.
Right. Well, I think that's true. Also, it offers a little social proof where people go like, oh, everybody's following Aphrodite. I should follow Aphrodite.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some truth to that. JC says, coffee hasn't been, I always want to call it Ko-Fi. I don't know why. Coffee hasn't been working well for me, but I keep hoping it will. I'm thinking if I'm going to create a membership tiers, it might be more beneficial to go with Patreon for that. JL said that husband was dancing around the kitchen and tripped over the dog. There's that. I'm visualizing that too. Eva says Twitch's and Amazon-owned streaming platform live streams often on gaming are popular there. Yeah, that is true. All right, here we go. I like the horror geek who should just get on the stream. I know you're listening. Start commenting instead of he's like sending like 1,000 messages on that. He says YouTube is going to kick Twitch's butt because YouTube is getting so into live streaming right now. Like they're really rewarding live streams. And because Twitch has a discoverability issue and YouTube does not, he thinks it's going to be a lot easier for YouTube to own that rather than
YouTube
Twitch.
has recently launched the feature of stream trailers where the creator can record like a 1-minute video
Mhm.
inviting people to set the reminder for the stream.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I've
So
been seeing those, but I didn't. I thought people were just doing that on their own. Like I didn't know it was connected
it's
that
a
way.
it's a
I
new
gotta look
YouTube
into that.
thing. It's a new YouTube thing because they want to compete even harder with Twitch.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know if, because I'm no longer a stream host, and I do apologize for that. I cannot sustain it, but I realized that the big creators. So I don't know if this will be the 1,000 subscriber 4 hours watch time requirement. I don't know if it's for everyone. I don't know because I don't
Okay.
host a stream, but I have been seeing those trailers for streams like, "Hello everyone, welcome to my whatever, welcome to my channel. This is a stream that's gonna be talking about blah 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 blah. So if you wanna check that out, please set the reminder below." Blah blah blah.
That's
Oh,
a great.
I gotta look into that.
That's a great idea. That's a really great idea. So we had a little conversation. Oh, first of all, hi, Jeannie Noble. We're so glad to see you.
Hi, Jeannie.
Hey,
All
hi,
right.
Jeannie.
Actually, before we get hello, I'm sorry to mean to interrupt everybody. Before we get back into more Patreon chat, let's go ahead and do another sprint. So let me just share that. Hold on, you guys. You know what I realized? I forgot. I usually don't. Oh, I've got it. Hold on. I can manage this, or maybe not. No, I think the answer is, oh, there it goes. Okay. Let me say this. So I usually don't use the 15-minute, and I didn't realize it, but there are ads on that just at the beginning. And so I just keep having to rewind it, but I wasn't sure if I let it go too far, there's an ad, or there's an ad at the end. I guess not.
Mine doesn't have an ad, and it's a 20-minute, but you can turn it into a 15.
Yeah.
No, my channel's little, so it's never going to have an ad.
Well, I'm sure it will. Don't say that. Yeah, so the 20 doesn't and the 5 doesn't, but for whatever reason, I must have clicked the button on the 15. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and do one last 15-minute sprint to think or write or do whatever it is that you want to do. And we are going to get started doing that in 3, 2, 1. Okie dokie, we are back. All right, I can still hear the ocean sounds. So I'm going to cut that off for a second. And then, all right, here we go. Ta-da. Very nice. I feel like this has been like such a good conversation, you guys. So we had some of our friends come on in while we were doing our last sprint. Hello, MM Ward. We are very, very glad that you made it today. Very nice. Who else did I see? ADHD Writer is here. Hello. We're glad to see you. So we are, we have been talking, I don't know what this is. I think I missed it. Oh, on-screen keyboards, extra warranty for accidents. So we've been talking about Patreon, what's good, what's bad, what works, what doesn't. Has anybody read that Patreon for Authors book?
No.
There's a whole book
No,
about
I didn't
it.
even know about it.
There is a Patreon for Authors book, and I cannot remember the author's name, but I will look it up. And she had some good advice. She'd started her Patreon account kind of early, and one of the things that she did that I thought was kind of cool was that she actually, like Aphrodite does, she actually sends physical things to her patrons, and they really seem to like that. So, and I think it's funny because Aphrodite, you mentioned that, or when Caro talked about your channel or your Patreon, she mentioned the little stuffed animals that you send out. So I think that's kind of a cool thing. I don't know.
With every package, excuse me, with every package that I send out a new plushie.
Oh, that's so
And
sweet.
that's because I like plushies and I want to get a plushie. I literally play it like, what would you want?
Well,
I want a plushie.
I think that is. I think that's a good way to go, though. To do something for other people that you would like. Thank you. Sky says An Author's Guide to Patreon by Mason Saber. Yes, I believe that's it. Oh, here we go.
Ooh,
And here's the. Yep,
nice.
that's it. Yeah. So I liked it.
I gotta get that.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it was a really good. Well, I wanted to not go into it completely blind because I had the same sort of feeling. Like I didn't want to have it be like some creepy thing. And I have not set up a Patreon account at all. But I thought about it all year, especially because every month, like my horror geek is like, oh, the Patreon money just came in. Like it's always like
Right.
exciting.
It's very
It's always an exciting event for him.
It is exciting. It's like when you get like on Amazon or KDP every month, you get the you don't get the money, you get the notification first.
Yes.
And it's like, oh yeah, I have a published book. That's right.
And somebody's going to pay me cash for that. That's
And
kind of
hey, by the way, we're gonna send you money in 4 days. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
That's right.
I agree about this excitement. I was not expecting to get any royalties from my short story Danger this month because I mean the story's kind of old, it's been there for a year. But then I get emails like you're gonna get. It's not big money in my case. It's not big money because it's a short story and it's very cheap. It's like $1. So of course my royalties are tiny. But whenever I get the email, it's like, oh,
It's like Christmas every month.
Yeah, someone bought it. Someone read it. I'm like,
woohoo! That is exciting. Well, isn't that why we're all here, right? Just that feeling that you get when somebody else buys your book, reads your work, all of that. So
I think the most exciting part is like because it always coincides with where I get the most of my messages, and then I can tell like, oh wait, oh some purchases. Then I get these emails or DMs, and they're like, "Girl, what is wrong with you?" I love it.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. So is there anything that you don't like that you've seen either other authors or other creators do on Patreon? Or is there anything that you that you've seen that you are really fascinated by. I will tell you, I actually, you guys know our very favorite Tamara. She has a Patreon account, and she had a goal for it. She's going to release the paperbacks of her series. I think it's a 2-book series. And she was waiting until she had reached a certain number of patrons, which I thought was kind of cool, because then you're like you want to be part of that goal. And
Right.
yeah. And so it really, like, for me, that was the thing that made me go like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and support her today, was because I wanted to help, right? I wanted to help her to achieve that goal. And so has anybody else been sort of inspired by a goal that an author is trying to achieve, and that was the thing that made you support another person on Patreon?
I am one of those who gives, like, for example, that short story that I talked about with the royalties.
Yeah.
Patreons don't have to go and buy it. No, they get it. It's just there.
Yep.
I mean, my patrons get everything free.
Yeah.
Because it's technically not free. They are supporting me. So, hey,
Right.
there you go.
They are.
Yeah.
So Sky says Tamara's going to do paperbacks when she reaches 50 patrons. So I think there's something pretty cool about that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it really
I love
is.
that idea. Actually, I have tiers where, depending on what tier you're on, like I have tiers where if I create a new piece of merch, you automatically get it, no matter what. Like, and I've created merch specifically for patrons that they're the only ones who can get it.
Oh, that's cool.
But to answer the question about something that I saw that I didn't like, I saw I'm not gonna say who the person is, but I saw that someone had like their tier levels and they started at like $10, and then like the next one was $50, and I'm like, do you want support? Because, or are you just trying to get money?
Right.
Like, the money is great and the money helps, and I have tiers that go from $1 to $100. And the way I did it was I based it on if there was a bill, an American bill for it, then there was a tier. So I have a $2 tier because there's a $2 bill, and so on and so forth, because it wasn't about just the money. Of course you want money, but it's because you want support. I would rather have 100 people at $1 than one person at 100.
Right.
And so I did not.
It looks better too.
Yeah, and when I saw that, and I went to support this particular person at the time, when I saw that, I was absolutely turned off. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I even if I could do that, I wouldn't. So I just thought that was like more like someone just doing a money grab as opposed to.
I'm just gonna say
the
something.
true point of what a patron is. People who are your patrons. It's an old thing. It's not new. Patreon didn't invent it. It's like, if you think about Shakespeare, he had patrons to support him so he can eat while he created.
Right.
And I think people forget that.
Even Dante Alighieri, the Divine Comedy guy, even he had Patreons. Imagine, that was way before.
Right. It's an old concept, which I think is beautiful for artists. I really do.
It really is. The other thing about that is that the cool thing about Patreon is that it's a lot, like, instead of having one rich patron, you have, and sort of being beholden to them in some ways, probably in many ways.
And you will be.
Right. But if Patreon crowdfunds essentially your patronage, and so you can get a good amount of support, but it's, your creator, your fans can, contribute in any way that they can, and, to support you and sort of be a part of your creation process. And I love that idea because people want to, they want to be involved. They want to know what's going on. They want to,
and they go along with your journey, depending on how you're doing it. Because you're getting all of me, poor people. So I'm telling you the struggles, the good times, the bad times, and you get to go along my writing process with me. So you're seeing raw stuff, and you get to pipe in on it. And I friggin' love Patreon.
I
Well,
have a
I
question.
think that's a great. Go ahead,
I have
Doll.
a question, but I think Robert also wanted to say something. So Robert, go ahead, and then I will ask you something, Aphrodite.
Well, I have two things. Basically, this has given me some ideas. I could do artwork and give people digital downloads, and I could have people actually vote on whether they want comic characters or famous characters from literature, and that could be something fun for me to do. And
Oh my
they could
God,
read
that would be
them.
great.
Aside from that, yeah, people don't realize that most creators are not independently wealthy. And we go along for years putting out content, and it's like, well, they're already putting out all this stuff for free, but no, it's not free. There's books, there's equipment, there's a lot involved in this.
Exactly. Oh my
Right.
goodness.
Not to mention the time and the effort that it takes to put forth videos on a regular basis, because it
True.
really is a time-consuming process.
Right.
And sometimes there's just other things to do, and to be able to do this continuously, when you have, like Dal said, you need time to write, you need time to do other things, and time to do whatever it takes to keep a roof over your head. So
Right.
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 And have additional struggles like not being able to see. You know,
Thank you.
it's not easy.
oh yeah,
I mean, it's not easy for anyone, but then you have an additional obstacle.
Right.
That was a question I wanted to ask, because of course during my scripting process this NaNoWriMo, there were a couple, like I mentioned in my writing update, so this is no secret, there were a couple of scripts that were a piece of shit. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, they were crap. But I call it crap because I don't see the function of that script as a YouTube video. Like I said in my writing update, no one wants to hear me talk about my struggles.
Mm-hmm.
But then Aphrodite said, hey, I post the real talk, I post the struggle, and I'm like, are your Patreons okay with that? Because like, I don't want to sound like a crying baby, that, if you know what I mean. Like, everybody knows I have depression, everybody knows I struggle, so I just don't want to feed that monster. It's just how do you share the more darker side of their journey with, like, how do you do that?
You know how I do it, and it's going to sound so basic, but because I don't separate it into, I don't compartmentalize me. Like, all of me is just who I am, and I guess in the world looking at me would say, oh, well, she's not perfect, but I am perfectly made. I'm perfect the way I am. So I don't split up my mental disorders. I don't split up my physical disorders, and I don't split up my joys and my struggles. Like, it's just all me. So whatever's going on with me at the time, like right now, I'm really going through some massive anxiety stuff. I share it because it is me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how to say that better. I write better than I talk.
I hear you. Same.
I just don't separate it, and I don't make it into a thing. Like, yes, I am blind, and yes, that means that I have to find a different way to do exactly what I still want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I do it. I find a different way. And then if I find said different way and it works, or if it doesn't work, I share that.
Right.
So, I mean, it's hard. Like I could almost cry right now because it's just so hard. And there are days when I just wish it wasn't. Mm-hmm. That I'm like, I wish I could just wake up and say, oh, I can just go through this day the way, quote unquote, other people do, without worrying about the my mental issues or worrying about being blind. Like, I can't go to a store. Someone has to go with me.
Right.
So it's like things like that. And I remind myself, well, I'm just going to be glad that someone goes with me. And then I'm going to talk about that. Like, so I guess to answer your question is I don't compartmentalize anything about me. All of me is a goddess. So you get
that's
true.
That is true. Well, I do think
all of me.
Yeah, I want to say this, and then I want to quickly go to what Robert's saying, and then we got to close up here. But one of the things that I think is really important is relating to Doll's question and what Aphrodite answered, was that instead of thinking about, oh, my fans won't like this part of me, or I'm going to hold this part back, I think you should share what you want to share, because that's going to attract the people who connect with you in the way that you want to be connected with. So instead of trying to be someone else for a group of people, communicate and be you in the way that you most want to do that. And that will attract the people who connect with that person. And I think you can be you can share as much or as little as you want to, but there are people out there who will connect with you on whatever level you choose to share.
I would hate that if that, let's say I was known for writing these glorious children's books, and that's all you know of me, and then one day you find out, oh my God, she has DID, and no one knew that. No one wants to be bothered. I would hate for that to be my truth. Whereas, I mean, you're going in, you know about me, you know what's going on with me, and that's okay. It's okay. It's not. There are going to be people that's going to be turned off, but the people who would be turned off, why would you want them in your corner?
That's exactly right. That is exactly right.
Great.
And I didn't think about that early on when I first started. I thought people don't want to hear about my pain and my struggles like that. You know, they just want to hear writing stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've been pretty open with the whole fibromyalgia thing, especially last year when I couldn't basically do much of anything. So you do have to find new ways to create. And daily pain is you never know what the level is going to be from day to day. The weather changes and suddenly you're spiking, and whatever you plan that day doesn't get done.
Right.
And I was just seeing on there was something on Instagram yesterday how it was talking how the pandemic is changing up the mental struggles of so many people, and depression is growing, anxiety, and also, like we've talked about over the past year, brain fog and fatigue. It's a thing that some university study proven is on the rise, and it's changing our brains and the way we think and the way we function.
Right.
So the struggle is real for all of us on various
It truly
levels.
is real. And I would like for people to really understand that it's real. And it's not just real for you sitting at home watching, it's real for all of us. And there are people who may come off like everything is perfect all the time, and you're like, wow, why can't I be like them? Trust me, you are.
That is so true. That is so true. And so let me just say this. We'll finish up. Thank you guys for everybody who are having these awesome like stories. I think it's fantastic. But one of my really good friends is an author named Lisa Earl McLeod, and she wrote a book called Forget Perfect. And she used to always say, who would you rather be friends with? The person whose house you go over to and it's like perfect and it looks like a page out of a magazine, or the person that's got bills piled up in the kitchen and the cat just threw up on the floor, right? That's the person you're going to like connect with.
That's the person I'm going to trust more.
Exactly. And so I think like, let your cat vomit fly. Okay. All right, you guys. On that special note, we are going
love you, Barrett.
Exactly. I know we do.
Love you, Barrett.
I think he's going to be with us next week. We are having a little chit chat on Instagram, so we'll see whether or not.
Little plug for Barrett. Please go check his Instagram because he is raising funds for the Crohn's Disease Foundation, I think. Check out his latest post. It's a fundraiser for a Crohn's disease organization. So please go check that out.
That is a great idea. Yeah. So we should definitely do that. Author JL says, I wish we could have more discussions like this. Good news, we can.
We will.
That's right. We definitely will. Jeannie Marcella, thank you so much for being here. The person with the cat vomit floor. Well, I love it when a story comes together at the end. All right. So before we go, let's do super quick because we're only a few minutes late. Let's go ahead and go around and everybody do a quick outro, and then we will say goodbye for the day, and we'll see you next week. Michelle, would you like to tell us a little bit about your channel and you before we go?
Sure. I'm Michelle Schusterman. I'm a middle grade and young adult author, and my channel is writing vlogs, writing workshops, and traditional publishing chat. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks for being here. Oh, You know what? Devin always has. Oh, there you go. Thank you so much, Devin. Speaking of Devin, he has all the live streams for the day. He has a playlist that he puts together for every single day, and he is awesome. And I'm so glad you are here today.
So
thanks.
awesome.
Definitely check that out if you're looking for a live stream. Robert, here, I'm going to leave that one up actually, so we can all go over to Insta right after this. Robert, tell us about you and your awesome channel.
Well, my awesome channel is The Story Detective, where we take all forms of story and put it under a Sherlockian microscope, break down the craft, and give it to the viewers in hopes to make your craft journey easier. And I also do tech reviews. More coming soon.
Yay, Aphrodite.
Hi, everybody. I'm Aphrodite Lee. I just want to give a quick announcement that I'm having a book birthday for Shattered tonight on my channel at 8 p.m. EST. Please come. There are going to be gifts, prizes, games, all kinds of tomfoolery. Other than that, everything I do is a playground.
Awesome. Love that. Love that. Dal.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm Daley, RUNO, a blind storyteller for introspective readers, and my YouTube channel is going to come back with the mission of helping you remember your humanity and claim back your creative time. I hope you like my future videos, and I'll see you soon.
Excellent. I'm Lisa Daley. This is my channel, and I'm here with my awesome friends you see on the screen, and you guys, everybody in the chat, every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. And I hope we see you guys back next week. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for being here today. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Take care, everybody.